Hello everyone and welcome to another compact tuning guide for Forza Horizon 5. For today's video I've gotten my hands into one of the best cars of the last decade, the 2020 Nissan GT-R NISMO, better known as Godzilla. My mission? To turn it into a rapid track weapon without sacrificing its fun, slidable nature. The basic ingredients are already fantastic. A 3.8 liter twin-turbo V6, all-wheel drive, a 6-speed dual-clutch transmission and that rather large wing. But there's always room for improvement, which is where I come in. Enough talk, let's get to it. The first step makes a huge difference, all thanks to adjustability. An upgraded front splitter and rear wing. Personally, I always prefer adjustable components over fixed ones. That's also why I've chosen the carbon fiber hood. Next up, the most important upgrade, a performance no-brainer that also grants you 5 bonus style points. Semi-slicks with white lettering on the sidewall. We'll follow that up by widening the tires from 255 to 275 at the front and from 285 to 305 at the rear. This should give us a serious boost in mechanical grip. It's not strictly necessary, but it's a logical pairing with the new aerodynamics. To squeeze even out more performance, we are also widening the track width on the front and rear to make the car even more stable. Now let's move on to the drivetrain. We are upgrading the transmission for faster shift times and adding a race differential. This is one of my favorite upgrades for any AWD car because it allows you to fine-tune the car's rotation and make it feel more agile. Next, the platform and handling. For a project like this, race springs and dampers are must-have. Otherwise you can't compete seriously. Front and rear anti-roll bars are also essential. They are a free upgrade in terms of PI, but they give us that crucial adjustability. Since we're aiming for the S1 performance class, we can also install the roll cage. It adds 26 kilograms, but it drastically increases the chassis rigidity, so it's a worthwhile trade-off. Last but not least, we are putting Godzilla on a diet and dropping 150 kilograms. At 1787 kg stock, the Nismo is a bit of a heavyweight. The final piece of the puzzle is the engine. The stock 600 HP and 650 Nm of torque are already impressive, but with this all-WD system and wide tires, we have traction for days, so why not add more power? First, we shred weight and add extra power with an exhaust upgrade. Then we add some weight back on by upgrading the turbos, which lands us at nearly 800 horsepower and 848 Nm of torque sent to all 4 wheels. The sport flywheel shaves off another massive kilogram. And there we have it. The cake is baked, but the topping is still missing. Let's call it fine-tuning. First, the tires. The optimal pressure while driving is around 2.27 bar, so setting the cold pressure to a flat 2.0 bar is a perfect starting point for this setup. Next, gearing. We can shorten the first few gears thanks to the incredible traction. The engine has a very broad peak torque range, so the later gears can be longer without sacrificing too much acceleration. In the alignment section I changed quite a bit. The stock car had far too much negative camber. To be fair, the values I'm using now are relatively low, but they proved to be optimal during testing. A little bit of tow out on the front axle helps the car to rotate in slow corners, which is a natural weakness for all-wheel drive cars compared to their rear-wheel drive counterparts. The stock anti-roll bars were set up to make the car understeer, so I've softened the front and stiffened the rear. The springs on the other hand are both stiffer than stock, because I don't want the car to bottom out. Even with this ride height and stiffness, the car still feels soft enough to handle any street in Guanajuato. To compensate the stiff springs, I've softened the damping a bit. I never had a moment where the car felt unsettled, so the settings felt good to me. You could stiffen up them a bit more if you're only racing on perfectly flat tracks. The aero is a bit more aggressive. I was tempted to tune for more top speed, but around 370 kph should be more than enough, especially when it takes corners like an absolute beast. The brakes are the car's weakest link as they remain stock. They are acceptable, but you need to hit the brake pedal a tad earlier than with other cars in this class. Finally, the differential. It's tuned to be just aggressive enough to give great rotation out of sharp corners, while remaining the incredible traction you expect from an all-wheel drive car. And that's for the boring part. Now let's head over to the thrilling part. 3, 2, 1, go. Both cars rocket toward the first checkpoint. You can already see that although the tuned car has more downforce and a bit more rolling resistance, not even sure if that's a simulated thing, but hey, the power advantage immediately makes itself known. With a speed difference of 21 kph, the stronger Nismo has already created a gap of over half a second. Let's get to the next section, which is a bit trickier. You have to be really precise with your steering and gentle on both the brake and throttle, otherwise you will lose a lot of time or even bin the car. Still, you can clearly see how much more agile the upgraded Nismo is. It's not just the aerodynamic enhancements, but it's also the fine-tuning that plays a big role here. The gap has grown to nearly 2 full seconds. Next up, section 3, where we accelerate straight toward Guanajuato. Again, the extra power does amazing work, but that's not all. The speed difference in the left-right combination is just incredible. In these medium speed corners, every upgrade has its finger in the pie. The lower weight, combined with the roll cage and increased tire and track width, creates amazing mechanical grip. The aero is doing its thing. The power helps the car to rotate faster out of corners, and the differential helps it rotate. The gap has blown out to a massive 3.7 seconds. Now you'll see a rolling start through the city, followed by one of the most satisfying corners on the track. If you nail it, that is. Mess it up and you'll lose precious tenths. With the upgraded Nismo, we don't even drop below 200 kph before hitting the brakes for the left-hander. The stock Nismo really fights to stay on line, pushing into understeer. The PI difference is only 54, but in terms of handling, they are worlds apart. While the gap has grown to nearly 5 seconds, we are approaching the slowest part of the track, where mechanical grip, a good suspension setup and a sharp alignment can really shine. Since both cars are rather large and heavy, maneuvering them through those narrow streets isn't easy. A rear-wheel drive car would be ideal here for rotating through the turns. The gap has grown by another second. Now we are heading into a section where precise driving is key. Unfortunately, I was a bit too clumsy for that. But since I messed up with both cars, we'll call it a fair comparison. Again, rear-wheel drive would be so much better here, but you can't have everything. Meanwhile, both cars are entering the final straight with a 10 kph speed difference. I let you enjoy the last couple of seconds and listen to that iconic 3.8 liter V6 soundtrack. Both cars have now crossed the finish line with a time difference of 7.6 seconds, which is massive for a PI difference of only 54. Normally you'd expect something between 5 and 6 seconds. For comparison, the stock Nismo is as fast as a stock Corvette C8 E-Ray and just 0.7 seconds slower than a Lotus Exige Cup 430. The tuned Nismo, however, plays in the same league as my setups for the BMW iX X-Drive 50, the Lucid Air Sapphire and the Bentley Continental Supersports. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel. If you have any questions or suggestions, please drop them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, until next time, keep the revs up high and the weight down low.